students, welcome. It's December 9th and this is your Friday bell work. I also like the term bell ringer. It's a little fun. And I want to talk about the rubric that I'll be using to grade this week's prompt. 3 points, one sentence only. 3 points, restates the prompt thoroughly. And 4 points, cites at least 2 focused and specific evidence-based facts. The sentence is organized clearly. So that's how you'll earn your 10 points this week. And I wanted to just sort of use that rubric, though the last 3 weeks, I only asked you to provide at least one piece of evidence. The rest of this is how I've been basically grading and analyzing the claims that you've been submitting. So let's take a look at a few of the claims that were submitted. The prompt was, are zoos necessary or should they be closed? Here's an almost. Zoos are usually necessary for bringing up endangered animals back up to top numbers. So one of the things about this one is just don't say usually, okay? You've got to take a firm position, no wishy-washy. Even if your conscience, in your conscience, you know that there are counterclaims or opposing views, you must still be firm in your position. Here's an example of how that could be rewritten. Zoos are necessary because they provide a safe environment where endangered species can reproduce. Try to keep it simple, yet thoroughly provide that evidence in a clear, concise manner. Here's an almost. Zoos are necessary. Animals should be put in larger cages, though. First of all, it's not one sentence. And second of all, there really isn't any evidence. Saying animals should be put in larger cages is more of an aside. It's kind of a tangent that the thought went off onto. It's not evidence. It should be omitted from the claim entirely. So just simply write, zoos are necessary because, and state your evidence. Here's an almost. Zoos are necessary to inform people of the natural world so they can know what to do about the issues of the world and nature. Remember to punctuate the ends of your sentences with periods. This is a great start. But I would challenge you, is it organized as clearly as possible? Okay? And is it as focused and specific? Does it tell us what the issues are in the claim? I'm really impressed by this one because it actually raised the idea of issues. Here's an example. Zoos are necessary because they educate people about the natural world and issues such as species extinction, poaching, and habitat destruction. So really dig in and think about the fact that you will be writing an entire argument paper based on this claim. So your claim, you want it to be thorough and include enough evidence that you could actually write an entire paper about it. Here's an example where we have a little bit too much going on. Zoos should not be closed because it is helpful for others to see different animals and their environment, character, and behavior. Zoos can be used for learning purposes. However, before bringing in an animal, zoos should study the animal's environment very carefully so there isn't any deaths of the different animals. So remember, it's great to brainstorm and have a rough draft where you just kind of spit it all out, get every thought out, okay? Because there aren't any bad thoughts. And with careful organization and planning, you can probably include all of those thoughts that are relevant and focused on the claim in your paper. Okay, but for your claim, it just needs to be one sentence, clear, focused, and organized. Here's an example. Zoos should not be closed because they teach people through experience about environment, character, and behavior of animals in ways that cannot be learned from textbooks. So just find a way to reword it so it's a little concise and a little more argumentative, so it would be difficult for someone to argue against your claim. Are zoos necessary or should they be closed? Okay, first of all, don't ask a question in your claim, okay? When I say restate the claim or the prompt, I mean to restate it, not in question form, but as a statement, okay? And then here's the evidence. There is a lot of things that are bad about zoos, but they also help teach our society about animals and their habitats. So in this one, this person's trying to play it safe. So you've got the wrong idea about the claim. we're not judging whether or not your opinion is true or false. What we are judging is, did this person state a position and support it with logical evidence? Because if you do, you can virtually take any prompt and take a position on either side. You're always going to be able to find evidence to support both sides of the argument, okay? So don't take it safe. Pick a side, all right? Take a side and restate that prompt. Here's an example. Zoos are necessary because they teach our society about animals and their habitats. Okay? No one can argue that. It's true. They do. Here's an example of a run-on sentence. They are necessary because you can learn about the animals, watch what they do. If you are lucky and you are at a petting zoo, you can pet some of the animals and maybe swim with goldfish. Closing down zoos are just sad and lame. Okay? So when we do that, it loses a lot of the expressiveness. That's why punctuation is actually pretty important, because it tells the reader how to read it. You had a way of thinking it when you wrote it, but without the punctuation, the reader doesn't fully get your meaning and intention behind it, right? So if you do have some issues with grammar, and you know that you do, rather than submit this to me, come and see me in the classroom. Bring this to me. And let's look at it, let's talk about it, let's break it down, and let's work together to give you a claim that's solid, okay, and one sentence. So once you get your thoughts out on paper, take the time to edit them. Okay, ask yourself, is it a complete sentence? Is it focused and clear? Does the evidence and everything I wrote support the claim? Okay, here's an example. Zoos are necessary because they are educational and entertaining. Petting zoos allow children to engage with animals in aquariums, and aquariums may allow people to swim with fish, providing an experience you cannot get in textbooks. So you'll notice that I used the semicolon here. In that first analysis video that I have beseeched you all to watch, I went in and I thoroughly explained how to use a semicolon for this very reason. Because when you have a lot of ideas that you're trying to fit into one sentence, the semicolon can be your friend because it joins two sentences together. It's like cheating. It's like I've got two sentences, but now it's one because I put a semicolon instead of a period, and I made this lowercase. Okay, so learn to use that semicolon. If you find yourself writing two sentences, wipe out the period, put a semicolon, and lowercase the beginning of that next sentence. As long as those two thoughts are closely related, that second clause is going to support the first. Is this effective? Zoos are necessary for learning purposes and the general welfare of animals because nowadays the exhibits are large and comfortable and take care of injured animals by giving them safe homes. Yes, good job. This is an effective claim. Is this an effective claim? Zoos are necessary due to the fact that they preserve valuable animals that are becoming more rare to find in the world because of forceful human insertion into their habitat. Might be better to say due to. It might be zoos are necessary because they preserve valuable animals that are becoming more rare to find in the world due to forceful. Because this using the because here almost makes it sound like zoos are necessary because of forceful human insertion due to the fact that they preserve. Does that make sense? So if you reorganized this sentence the way it's written and put this clause before that clause, because you should be able to do that and it should still make sense, then you'll notice that due to and because need to be switched. Otherwise, good job. So is this effective? Zoos should be closed because the majority of zoos don't provide the stimulation that animals need. Great claim. Zoos are necessary to provide shelter and protection for endangered animals and to rehabilitate animals. Great claim. Caging wild animals from birth or youth for entertainment is always wrong and should be stopped. Hopefully you've noticed that first of all, it doesn't restate the prompt, zoos are necessary or zoos should be closed, right? Needed to do that. And then the next part of it is, this is clearly a person who has a strong opinion, right? Saying something is wrong is not fact. So you've got to actually have some evidence. If you want people to listen, you've got to earn their respect. Remove the emotion and state the facts. You may actually change people's minds. So that's why we are teaching you how to write arguments, because we want you to go out into the world. We want you to change it. We want you to make it better. We're trying to give you the tools to do that. Argumenting using factual evidence rather than heated emotions is how you're going to make those changes in the world. All right, so let's go into our image design class and click on content. Scroll down to week 6. Inside that week 6 folder, you'll find the bell ringer folder. Click on that. Okay, and then here's the quiz. So you're just going to open up that quiz. Decided not to use Google Docs anymore. It's so much easier for me to grade when everything's in here. And actually, I'm going to preview it. So that's how I have to do it as a teacher. I'm going to open that up. And here you have it. Is Andy Warhol's graffiti art? Well, is it? Hopefully you have actually read your week 5 lesson and did the quiz there. And if you've done the week 6 assignment already, then there were some videos in there as well that you were going to watch, right? I'll show you where those are at in just a second. But how would you start this? Is Andy Warhol's graffiti art? Andy Warhol's graffiti is art because ... Or Andy Warhol's graffiti, is not art because. Okay, so take a side. Don't be wishy-washy. All right, just take a side. You could find evidence to support both of those, and I need 2 pieces of evidence from you. Be clear and concise, okay? And come and see me in the classroom if you need some help with it. I'm going to go back to the content really quick because I just want to take a look at that week 5 lesson and test, okay? So everything that you did in that week 5 lesson and test, look at these awesome videos, okay? Video 1, Art and Architecture of Andy Warhol. All right, maybe not the color theory basics video. You saw that GIMP tutorial about Andy Warhol pop art, okay? That's the video tutorial that you used to do the week 6 assignment too. When you go into the week 6 assignment, if you've done that already, you'll notice that there are some other inspirational videos. The Case for Andy Warhol, the art assignment, PBS Digital Studios, pop art, and Andy Warhol. All right, so there are another 2 videos, and if you'd like to go and search and watch some more documentaries on Andy Warhol, you're more than welcome to. And I know that you could probably find evidence in support of Andy Warhol's graffiti being art and evidence against it being art. Take a side, be brave, be firm, be logical, be concise, specific, focused. And if you need to stop and edit and reorganize, do so. This week's claim is due by next Friday at 9 a.m. So you have 1 week to write this claim. Ciao, have a great weekend.